Hi, welcome to Gail's Garden, Herbs and More, if I can keep the light right. We're going to be talking about how to process raw pistachios. Now, I have never done this before, so a lot of it is experimentation, and I'm taking you along with me on this. So don't just listen to part of it and say, oh, that's the way Miss Gail said to do it, because I change as I go through the video. I see where that first experiment way I was doing it failed. And as I go through and I say what I think I'm going to do, but then I change my mind because I find, nope, oh yeah, I forgot about that. I used to do nuts of other sorts, and this is a nut. And so just bear with me through the whole thing. One thing I'd like to say before I get started on the video is it's a type of, it's like a nut. Actually, I think pistachios are related to cashews, which is really not a nut, but we'll just call them nuts because to me that's what they are. I think this whole world has gone nuts recently. But I would just like to say there's no room for fear in a believer's life anyway. No matter what happens, for me to live is Christ. There's much we can do for the kingdom of Christ. For me to die, for me personally to die, that's only gain. That's a gain because heaven is a real home and it's so much better there. There's no room for God hath not given us the spirit of fear. I have said that verse before more than once. And if there's fear, it's not from God. So no matter what happens or what we have to deal with, we've got to try to remember to deal with it in a right spirit. But the right spirit, the spirit of Christ, and not out of a spirit of fear, because you make mistakes when you do things out of a spirit of fear. Now, I would like to say I'm thankful that someone gave us these pistachios. I've never worked with a large bunch like this before. I've never had the raw ones at all. So, but it's much like processing any other nut, I found out in the end run. But anyway, come along with me and we'll find out all about how to process at home pistachios when they're raw and still in their hull. So here we go. Raw pistachios. I don't even know. I'm going to have to guess at how to do this. I can't even find a decent video. So I've got some in my dehydrator and they still got the hole on them. I don't know if that's a good idea. I'll see if it makes it easier to take the holes off. We'll see. But in the meanwhile, I'm going to be taking holes off of the green ones, and then I'm going to soak them in some salt water and maybe bake some and see the difference between drying and baking. I'm going to do a lot of different things and just experiment. Here's a few I took the holes off from. They're still kind of damp. But some of them were fairly easy to get the holes off from, and some weren't. So they're still pretty damp. So what I'm doing, okay, this is my table. I just laid them all out on the table to dry somewhat. It'll take me forever in my little dehydrator to dehydrate those enough to holes for them to come off. So I still have some in the dehydrator. I'm going to go ahead and finish those and see how that goes. And then I'm going to try leaving these on the table for a few days and see if they will dry enough. It'll make the holes easier to come off, because there was a few in a few handfuls that I took out. There was a few that had dried a little bit, and boy, they just slip right off. But the ones that aren't dry, they're stuck to that shell, and you can't scrape them off hardly. So they definitely need to dry a little. I just don't want them to spoil. And then I'm going to get the holes off, and then I'm going to soak them in salt water and bake them. I think from the few videos, there wasn't very many videos on it, and they weren't real precise on what to do. So I'm kind of experimenting because I like to get an idea how people do things, and then I do it my own way. But in the background what they've said too. So. And I like to experiment a little. I might take some and try some different flavors with it. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'll kind of let you know as I go along. It'll probably be a while before I get this video up because I'm kind of doing it in increments. Okay, I'm taking them out of the dehydrator, but I don't think that worked. I think they were easier raw from the trees after you pick them to get the hull off than they are now. I'll take a knife and try to scrape it and see how they do. They might. Let's see. In the meanwhile, they lay on my table and kind of dry. One thing do not do. I was tired last night when Kyle brought me all the pistachios from someone gave to him. I made a big, and I knew better. Sometimes you just do things. I only had 2 trays of my eggs. I had scrambled all up and put in there raw. And I thought, oh, I've got all that open space. I'm so stupid sometimes. I was just really tired. And I thought, I'll just dehydrate some of those almonds while I got the dehydrator going. Not almonds, but pistachios. And so I went ahead and stuck the nuts in there. Well, stupid me. And it crossed my mind. I said, I don't know. I'm just so tired. I want to go to bed. And sure enough, you're always on organic or raw stuff, whatever. You're going to get worms and bugs. And some worms dropped down in the tray, the top tray of eggs, into my eggs. So, of course, I had to throw that away. Blech. Don't combine the two. And I knew better. You do stupid things when you're tired. So yeah, don't combine other things with it in your dehydrator because you will get some worms, like it or not. So I'm just trying to find out now which is the easiest way to get the holes off because I can't find any YouTube videos on it. So hopefully my video will help someone else as I'm experimenting with these pistachios. Now I've got some in the oven. And I started out at 350 to get it good and hot and then turned it down to about 200. And now it's just sitting there because I'm expecting someone at the moment, some business I have to take care of. So anyway, we'll see which does the best, whether I just dehull them raw or bake them or dehydrate them. We'll see which works. The thing of it is, I know because in years past, I've had like walnuts that I get from the field. And you have to bake them a little while when you first get them. Otherwise, the worms in them will keep going and spreading to the other ones. So no matter what, I've got to get these baked to kill the worms so they don't spread to the good nuts. Because there'll be some that have the worms in them. Not all of them, thankfully. But they will be in all of them if I don't get them baked and kill the worms so they don't keep spreading to the others. So I have to get these all baked a little while, enough to kill the worms. So, I don't know. Anyway, okay, I took them out of the oven. I really didn't have them in there very long, and there's still moisture. I hope it killed the worms. I didn't keep them in there very long. The main guy that got them said that you just put them in for a few minutes and then kind of rake them around and turn them. And the holes are much, now see that? The holes are just wiping off. So don't dehydrate them. It just sticks the holes to them. But when you bake them, look at that. With one hand and my finger, I was able to take that right off. So yeah, bake them a little bit. And I've got a mess. I've got so many things going here and inspecting someone else. And one hand does not work well. Anyway, that will give you an idea what to do with your pistachios. Well, I don't know if I baked those long enough. I did some more research looking around, not on YouTube. And just in reading, what I found was to kill the worms and nuts, you need to bake them at 140 for an hour. Well, my oven doesn't go to 140. The lowest it'll go is 170. So I'm going to do it about 45 minutes at 170. Hopefully that will kill the worms and not overcook my pistachios. So there you go. Oh, you guys are learning with me on this. Look, I got all this corner. Well, I'm going to rebake that one batch though, because I don't think I did it long enough. But the shells sure come off. You know what? Maybe I will start deshelling those and then just bake them in not deshelling, but dehulling them and just bake them in the shells. So, see, you're learning right along with me on this, but I want to share the experience and the learning. So, on we go. These are the ones I just baked a little bit and turned them and baked a little bit. Yeah, it comes off pretty easy, but it's still going to take me forever because I still have all of those over on the table. The ones in the oven that now I'm baking at 170 for 45 minutes, I don't know how the holes are going to do on those. You may have to do them this way and then finish baking them after you peel them. My goodness, it's going to take me forever to get through these things. Okay, I'm outside in the sun a little bit because I've been in the house most of the morning. I moved one of my greenstock towers over here and planted a few more winter stuff in it, but we'll talk about that maybe in another video. I wanted to just close this out about the pistachios. Okay, even the ones that are dehydrated, as they sit there, some are easier on the holes to get off than others. That's just the way it is, and I could probably do those. I don't know if the dehydrator killed the worms though, so I think I'm going to bake those a while. It's good to bake them. I baked them at 170 for 50 minutes. And that seems to have done pretty good, and you still got your thing with the shells. Some are easier than others to get off. So basically, we know you have to bake them to kill the worms. So I just went ahead and baked. I went through several pans. As I got done, I stuck more pans in, and I got them all baked. And now I'm down to just hulling. And I hulled for a while, watching the video, and now I'm out here enjoying the sun for a little bit, and I'm going to kind of finish this up. I think as I let them set, even from coming out of the oven, as some of that moisture gets out of the holes, they tend to be, and they get a little bit wrinkled, then they're pretty easy. But if it's a nice tight hole on it, it's really hard to get the hole off. So we know that we have to bake them, and then you just got to scrape the holes. Some will come off easy and some won't. And then after you get that all done, or once you get a nice bowl of them, you can soak them in salt water and rebake them a little bit again to dry them out good, and soak that salt or bake that salt in. So if you like salty pistachios, which I do, I'm a salt person, but I was not regular salt. It's not really good for you. I use the pink Himalayan salt. That way it's the body can assimilate it better, and you don't get the high blood pressure and all those problems with salt. The reason people get that is because it's table salt, which is sodium chloride. All the other stuff's been taken away, and it doesn't assimilate well in your body. I mean, it does somewhat, but for a lot of people it causes high blood pressure. And you don't get that so bad when you take the salt with all the other nutrients with it, where it's natural salt. With the nutrients, and you get a lot of minerals with the Himalayan pink salt. It's really, really good for you. But anyway, just a little add-on plus there. I don't want to get this too long, so I'm going to go ahead and close it. And if you have any questions about the pistachios, just let me know, and we will catch you all next time.